It was supposed to be a night of youthful exuberance, a pens-down party to mark the end of exams at Enyobeni Tavern in East London, South Africa. The air was thick with anticipation as teenagers, some as young as 13, gathered to celebrate. However, the night of June 26, 2022, took a horrific turn, etching itself into the annals of South African history as a night of unimaginable tragedy. By morning, the celebration had transformed into a scene of chaos and despair. 21 young lives were tragically cut short, their futures forever extinguished. 9 girls and 12 boys, all between the ages of 13 and 17, lay lifeless. The community was in shock, grappling with the enormity of the loss and searching for answers. Initial reports pointed to a stampede as the cause of the tragedy, fueled by rumors of overcrowding and inadequate safety measures at the tavern. However, as investigations progressed, the cause of death was officially declared as suffocation due to overcrowding. Questions lingered though, as authorities delved deeper, seeking to uncover the precise sequence of events that led to such a devastating loss of life. The tragedy sent shockwaves throughout South Africa and beyond, raising serious concerns about youth safety, underage drinking, and the enforcement of regulations at entertainment venues. The nation mourned the loss of its young, their potential unfulfilled, their dreams shattered. In the wake of the tragedy, authorities launched a full-scale investigation to determine the events that transpired at Enyobeni Tavern that fateful night. The tavern owner, Kangala Ndevu, and 2 of his employees were arrested in July 2022 following charges laid by the Eastern Cape Liquor Board. The arrests were a first step towards accountability, but the legal process was just beginning. Ndevu and his wife Vuyokazi, who served as the tavern's operational manager, faced charges related to the violation of liquor laws, specifically the sale of alcohol to minors. The South African Human Rights Commission, SAHRC, launched its own investigation, aiming to examine the broader systemic issues that may have contributed to the tragedy. Their report, released in April 2024, highlighted concerns about the lack of enforcement of liquor laws, inadequate safety regulations for entertainment venues, and the need for increased awareness about the dangers of underage drinking. The inquest into the Enyobeni Tavern tragedy began in May 2024 at the Mdansane Magistrates Court, with testimonies from witnesses including survivors, first responders, and forensic experts. The inquest aimed to provide a comprehensive account of the events leading up to the tragedy and determine whether any criminal negligence had occurred. Amidst the legal proceedings and investigations, the human cost of the Enyobeni Tavern tragedy remained at the forefront. Survivors of that fateful night shared harrowing accounts of the chaos and panic that ensued. They described feeling pressure, struggling to breathe, and witnessing friends collapsing around them. Their stories painted a grim picture of the conditions inside the overcrowded tavern. Families of the victims grappled with unimaginable grief and loss, demanding justice for their loved ones. They held protests, demanding answers from authorities and accountability from those responsible for ensuring the safety of their children. The parents' pain was palpable, their cries for justice echoing the sentiment of a community united in grief. The community of East London and the surrounding areas rallied around the families, offering support during their time of need. Memorial services were held, candles were lit, and prayers were offered for the victims and their families. The tragedy served as a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the profound impact that such events have on families and communities. The families' pleas to halt the demolition of the tavern resonated deeply, as they sought to preserve the site as a memorial to their children and a reminder of the tragedy that unfolded. They believed that preserving the site would serve as a constant reminder of the need for accountability, justice, and systemic change to prevent such tragedies from happening again. The Enyobeni Tavern tragedy exposed the urgent need for stricter regulations and enforcement of existing laws related to alcohol sales and consumption, particularly concerning minors. It forced South Africa to confront the uncomfortable realities of underage drinking, overcrowding at entertainment venues, and inadequate safety measures. The tragedy served as a wake-up call for communities across the country, prompting calls for increased awareness about the dangers of underage drinking, the importance of responsible alcohol consumption, and the need for collective action to prevent similar incidents from occurring. The tragedy sparked a nationwide conversation about youth safety, prompting calls for increased parental supervision, community involvement, and government intervention to provide safe spaces for young people to socialize. The South African government faced pressure to implement stricter regulations on entertainment venues, including limitations on capacity, mandatory safety inspections, and severe penalties for establishments that violate these regulations. In the aftermath of the tragedy, various organizations and community groups stepped up their efforts to educate young people about the dangers of alcohol and drug abuse, providing counseling services, and creating safe spaces for them to gather and socialize. The Enyobeni Tavern tragedy, while a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of negligence and a lack of accountability, also ignited a sense of collective responsibility and a determination to create a safer environment for future generations.